Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to discuss Xylem Fibers and Xylem Parenchyma, which are the remaining cell types of xylem that we are discussing. Before getting started, let me tell you we are discussing complex permanent tissue, and in the previous two parts we discussed xylem vessels and xylem tracheids. So let's move on today first of all with xylem fibers or wood fibers. Okay. These cells are long, dead, and have thick secondary walls. They are longer than tracheids and are present in both primary and secondary xylem. And these cells develop from the same meristematic cells as the other xylem cells. That means they also are derived from the cambium. Okay, and they have highly lignified secondary walls, and because of this high lignification their walls are excessively thick and they possess a very narrow lumen. Okay, their lumen is very narrow, even more narrow than the lumen of vessels. And in these cells the secondary depositions are deposited in such a way that only some small spots are left which form the simple pits, or simply you can say they show pitted thickenings in their secondary walls. There are two types of xylem fibers. The first one is fiber tracheids and second one is libriform fibers. First of all, fiber tracheids. These are relatively short and thin walled as compared to libriform fibers that we are going to discuss on the next slide, and they possess bordered pits. Because of the presence of this bordered pits, they are considered as intermediate between fibers and tracheids. Okay, they are not true tracheids or true fibers because they show the characters which are present in both fibers and tracheids. Okay, असल में जो फाइबर्स होते हैं, their main characteristic feature is they are thick walled. They are excessively thick walled and they possess simple pits. But here you see these cells, they possess the bordered pits, which is the characteristic feature of tracheids. That is why they are considered as intermediate types of fibers, which cannot be considered as true fibers or true tracheids. And these cells usually develop from tracheids by thickening of their wall and narrowing of their lumen. Now another type is libriform fibers. These fibers are long, thick walled and possess simple pits. Okay, and these cells are typical or true fibers which show all the characteristics of sclerenchymatous fibers. I have already told you about sclerenchymatous fibers. Sclerenchymatous fibers are long dead cells, and these dead cells possess simple pits. Their walls are excessively thick. They possess narrow lumen. Okay, these libriform fibers, they show all such characteristics. Now the function of fibers. The function of xylem fibers is to provide mechanical support to the plants. This is the main function of xylem fibers. Now Xylem Parenchyma. Xylem Parenchyma is constituted of living parenchyma cells, and these parenchyma cells are present in both primary and secondary xylem. These parenchyma cells, they possess the protoplasm, they possess the nucleus. That is why we say they are living. Okay, there are two types of parenchyma cells in secondary xylem. The first one is wood parenchyma or axial parenchyma, and second one is ray parenchyma. Okay, first of all, wood parenchyma. Wood parenchyma cells are formed from fusiform cambial initials. Okay, जो cambium होता है जिससे secondary xylem बनता है, secondary phloem बनता है. It contains two distinct types of cells. One is known as fusiform initial and second one is known as ray initial. Okay, the fusiform initials are relatively long as compared to ray initials, and these fusiform initials form long parenchymatous cells which are arranged parallel to the long axis of the stem. Okay, जो wood parenchyma cells होती है, or you can say axial parenchyma cells, they are arranged parallel to the axis of the stem. Okay, these are the elongated cells which are arranged parallel to the axis of the stem. And the second one is ray parenchyma. These cells are formed from ray initials of cambium, and these ray parenchyma cells are short and arranged radially. I will make you understand here. Say this is the cross section of stem. Okay, this is cambium, and this is ray parenchyma, and this is the axial parenchyma. Okay, the axial parenchyma has given rise to a long cell which is aligned parallel to the long axis of the stem, and this ray parenchyma has given rise to short cells which are arranged radially. Okay, radially means along the radius. Here they will be arranged like this. They will be arranged in the form of rays which diverge from the center of the stem. Okay, so the main difference between wood parenchyma and ray parenchyma is that while as wood parenchyma cells are elongated and arranged parallel to the long axis of the stem, ray parenchyma cells are short and arranged radially. Okay, they are arranged radially and they develop from the ray initials. Okay, and finally the function of parenchyma cells, xylem parenchyma cells. The first function is conduction of materials. Okay, it helps us in the radial conduction of materials. The second function is storage of food reserves in the form of starch. Okay, or in some cases fats. This is all about xylem. With this we are done with xylem, and in the next part we are going to discuss the phloem tissue. Till then, stay blessed and thank you.